welcome to another YouTube video. I had started reviewing this book, Breathe, and then I got a glance at a page and realised I've been using the wrong pronouns for one of the creators, and we'd like to make sure we are using the right pronouns. I didn't realise. I was also very confused because on YouTube people are pronouncing their name differently, but their pronouns are E-M-A. I have no idea how to use it, but you're going to hear me attempt to. I'm going to do my best. I haven't heard of these pronouns before, but I am really sorry to M, because I am going to mispronounce the name. I couldn't find that people have different ways of pronouncing it, so I got very, very confused. But we're going to go by the name Maia. I'm just going to say Maia. I'm really sorry I couldn't find any one pronunciation of this last name. I wish I could, because yeah, I probably could have if I'd have watched like any of the videos on genderqueer, which this author is known for, but unfortunately I haven't read genderqueer yet, so we're just going to go straight into the review because I've already done this once. Basically, if you are trans, non-binary, or genderqueer, you need to and you are binding, or you have binded, or have been binding for any period of time, you need to have this book on your radar. There is, I don't see anyone on YouTube talking about it. In fact, when I searched this book in YouTube, the only thing that came up was Google Books advertising it, weirdly, which is how I actually came across the book. But then because of cookies, it got recommended on Goodreads as well, because but yeah, I absolutely love this book. Maia and Sarah, so let's go back to the back really quickly so I can just refresh. Yeah, so Sarah is she, her, and Maia is E-M-A. And then there's been a couple of people who have had their experiences wrote in this book. So there's 4 different experiences. It's of these 4 people, and they have been renamed to A, B, C, and D. I found D's story the most relatable for me personally, because I have been binding for 5 years before I came out as trans. I have always been very interested in corsetry, and then when I found out there was a better way to do it, a way that was more masculine, I obviously switched. I used to make my own corsets, and I would make them out of anything. I found denim was the best in terms of like grip and like structure, and it held best. But anyone who's worn denim for a long periods of time, especially on hot days and all those, that can be quite, it's semi-breathable. But I preferred it because it did the binding job the best. There are other materials you can use. I just found that was the one that worked for me before I recently swapped to, well, I say recently, it's like 5 years ago, I swapped over to binders. I have been using Xuji, Xuji, which I have also been buying from Amazon, which is also where you can get this book. And I've, every like year, maybe 2, I do unfortunately have to change and buy new binders, which is a bit of a hassle. I wish I didn't have to change them that often, but they do stretch over time, I find. But you know, if I'm spending 60 to 70 quid on binders in one go, every year or 2, that's not too bad. It's only until I've had my top surgery anyway. But back to the book, which we're here to review, Breathe. It's Journeys to Healthy Binding. It's by Maia, the best-selling author of genderqueer. I still need to read that book. I think I tried to, and I just couldn't get into it. I would like to try it again, but this is a book that I would love to see more people buying, reviewing, and talking about, because there's barely anything on here other than that ad by Google. So basically, what I loved about this book as well is, as you've got 4 people across the gender diverse spectrum, which I thought was fascinating. I always like learning about other people's lives as well. I don't like autobiographies per se, but I do like little snippets of like stories. And I also like that this has been printed on, it's kind of like newspaper, which I really like the texture of. That's really unusual for books, I find. But it's like a blue colour scheme throughout. One thing that I also really like is how it talks about different people's experiences with binding. Some of the experiences I have also personally experienced. Like, I don't know if anyone else has tried binding with bandages. Please don't. Just don't. Don't. For long term, it's horrific and it hurts. It's just not worth it, you know. There's tape. There's like tape binding. It talks about the options you have for binding. I really liked Dee's experience with where they them 56 years old. I also like how it covers the gender spectrum, like 4 different people's identities. You've got the different types of binders you can now get. You've also got how it discusses the medical side as well, which we don't really hear a lot of people talking about. Like, it talks about the impact it can have on your spine, your ribs, your lungs. It talks about this is something I struggle with. So I normally would bind for like. I still kind of sometimes bind for like whole days. It's not exactly healthy. It isn't healthy. You're supposed to do it for hours. This is why I also like the book Hibiscus and Home, which I will eventually do a review on this channel for, because I need more people to read it. But it talks about different types of physio you can do for your arms, back, legs pain. This has unfortunately led to medical issues for me in terms of doctors just want to blame everything on my binders. My current issues aren't because of my binders. They are underlying medical health conditions that I've been trying to get help for years, but I know it's not because of the binders. I just know I'm right with this one. But this book talks about as well, it's got like a tracker for managing how long you are binding for, which I appreciate, how you're feeling like emotionally, physically. It's got prompts for what to write in a journal to help you track your trans journey, which I also very much appreciate. There's like strategies for help, like as well, like if you find a binder to be too big or too small, it's okay to get a bigger size or a smaller size. Like, don't send it back, which is another reason why I recommend Amazon. I ordered some binders and then they didn't come, and I now unfortunately ended up spending that money on something else. But I actually need to put in a new binder order because I need the new binders. Because they are like, there's a point of, it depends where you buy from and what your preference is, but sometimes when you've worn binders for quite a few years and for long periods of time as well, they can't, depending on the material, it can stretch out and fade, which is one of the things I loved about wearing denim when I used to use corsets to bind. But like, one of the things I find interesting is this book talks about mapping your binding journey, your binding journey, and how you can, like, you can track, you know, your age, what method you used of binding, what your experiences with that specific type of binding was, how you were feeling, and there's like gender validation chart, how to discuss these things with your friends, your family. Another thing I found interesting is that there was a report done on whether they experienced back pain, breast pain, neck pain, chest pain, shoulder pain, and they had a scale on how they found it. But also, it was really interesting to hear other people's binding experiences, because I don't feel like it's something we talk about a lot in the trans community. I feel like when I do see it and when I do hear it, it's, oh, it changed my life, and it's could you share more, please, you know? Like, it's great that it's changed your life, but some of us would like more guidance. Some of us are just a little bit unsure. Some of us don't understand where to start. Some of us, like myself, have done some very daft things, like binding with, I can't remember what it's called. It is mentioned in this book somewhere, but you know, stuff you wrap sandwiches in. Now, I did try that one time. I don't recommend it, just like I don't recommend bandages, but I will be honest. At the time that I was binding with bandages, the 2 weeks I was binding with bandages, I had no access to my corsets, and I was waiting on my binder order, because the 2 weeks that I waited was the first time that I had actually ordered binders. So I was binding bandages for work. It was painful. they didn't always hold in place until I discovered there's like a sticky tape one you can use. Like, that held, but that was painful. It was not breathable, and I do not recommend. Like, but at the same time, I can only share my experiences and why I did it. So for me, I felt like I had to. I don't like this area at all. It makes me so uncomfortable. I'd rather bind, and that's what I was forking out like £10 every 2 days for these bandages, because if anyone's worked in like some form of kitchen, you know how hot it gets. So I was not wearing them past 2 days. I was not risking it, and you can't exactly put them in the washing machine. Some you can, but the ones that I was using, you couldn't. Another thing is, I really like how Maia, they've worked with someone who has a PhD in I want to say gender studies. I don't actually know. I don't think it's stated in here, but is it? Just give me like 1 second. I don't believe it was stated. It's not stated, but it does talk. It does talk about how Sarah has done a lot of work for transmasculine, around the health impacts of chest binding and transmasculine individuals. So I will talk about like. I will be looking into other work that she's done, but I just think this is a book more people need to buy, more people need to talk about, more people need on their radar. And I just, as someone who's been binding for over 10 years, first started out with corsets before I realised I was trans. I then slowly became uncomfortable with with binding with corsets, moved on to bandages, cling film. That's the word I was missing, and eventually moved over to binders. And what I really like about this book is how it talks about the spectrum and different people's experiences with it, but also has tips for journaling and tracking your own binding journey, as well as shares the different experiences of people of various gender identities, as well as across different age groups, which I think is so important. I really like the artwork on the back as well, like the Black Trans Lives Matter, protect trans kids. I just think it's cute as well, like, and the blue is such a calming colour. This is definitely, it's not something you really, it's bizarre to me, like, it's just, the whole book, I cannot rate enough. This was very clearly a 5 stars for me, and we need more literature like this. I also like that it's fact-based, and if you know anyone who is trans, if you know anyone who is, on like even if you're not trans, and you want to know more about binding, or you bind and you're a woman, I think this book offers some interesting insight and could help a lot of people. Like, I truly believe that this book should be being spoken about. This book should be on your radar, and this book should be on your to be read list. And I highly recommend that people recommend this to their libraries and get them into those libraries. But yeah, that's it for today's video. If you have bought this book, let me know what you thought of it. I was so excited when it came. Honestly, this book has been my favourite. Well, I can't even put it up there as my favourite read. This is just like an essential this is like a guidebook that I keep going back to. Because sometimes you just need a refresh to take care of yourself, and because it's so short, it's not intimidating. It's also offered me some great tips for my own journaling with my trans experience. So if you get a moment, I just recommend buying it and reading it. And if you know someone who's like trans, maybe get this book for them, or like someone who binds, maybe get this book for them. Because whether you're trans or not, I think this book could help a lot of people. I think this book, it could be beneficial for helping so many people in so many ways, and I just don't see anyone speaking about it. I don't see anyone talking about it. I just think it's a shame. It's like, genderqueer was very popular. This one, I don't see why this doesn't get the same level, because this isn't fiction. This is based on real people and real stories, and I just think it would be brilliant if more people could get and speak about this book and share their own experiences. So I will, as usual, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you have bought this book, what you thought of it, and if it has been added to your to be read list. Till the next one, bye.